So, you're finally planning that dream trip to Japan. You're picturing the neon lights of Tokyo, the peaceful temples of Kyoto, and all the incredible food you can eat. It's all waiting for you. But what a lot of travel guides don't mention is that this dream trip can quickly sour if you're not prepared. So many first-time travelers make a few key mistakes that leave them sprinting through train stations, missing out on things they were excited about, and feeling totally exhausted. It's the classic story of a dream vacation turning into a frantic, stressful mess. But that is not going to be you. In this video, I'm breaking down the 5 biggest strategic mistakes travelers make in Japan, so you can have the seamless, amazing adventure you're picturing. We're not talking about small etiquette slip-ups here. We're talking about the major planning blunders that can trip you up before you even get there. A successful trip to Japan all comes down to picking the right time, booking the right things early, and keeping your plans realistic. Let's get into it. The number one mistake I see, and honestly, it's the most common, is packing way too much into the itinerary. It comes from a good place, you're excited. You want to see it all. You've got a list with 20 temples, 5 museums, 3 different Tokyo districts, and a day trip all crammed into a 4-day window. And the result? You spend your whole vacation running from one train to the next, just ticking boxes on a list instead of actually experiencing Japan. This frantic pace is the fastest way to burn out. A schedule that tight leaves no room for magic. There's no time to wander down a charming side street that catches your eye, no lingering over a perfect bowl of ramen because you had to catch the 2:14 p.m. train, and no chance to just sit in a temple garden and breathe. You end up seeing everything but feeling nothing. It all becomes a blur of train stations and ticket counters, and the exhaustion just completely smothers the joy. Many travelers admit they tried to do too much too fast, which only led to them feeling tired and having shallow experiences. The fix is surprisingly simple: do less. Instead of trying to conquer all of Japan in 10 days, pick a few key regions or cities to focus on. Give yourself permission to have days with only 1 or 2 main things planned. This builds in a buffer, time for getting lost, time for resting your feet, and time for finding something amazing that wasn't in any guidebook. A great way to approach this is to plan your day around 1 or 2 priorities instead of a long, rigid list. For example, instead of trying to hit 5 Kyoto temples in one day, choose one major temple for the morning, like Kinkaku-ji. Then, plan to just explore that neighborhood in the afternoon. This gives you focus but also freedom. You'll get a much deeper appreciation for that one amazing place and still leave room for spontaneous discovery. Your trip will go from a mad dash to a meaningful journey, and you'll come home with rich memories, not just a checked-off to-do list. The second huge mistake is ignoring Japan's seasons, holidays, and crowd patterns. Planning a trip without a quick glance at a Japanese calendar is like trying to navigate Tokyo without a map. You are just setting yourself up for failure. A lot of travelers book flights whenever they can get time off work, not realizing they've just scheduled their relaxing vacation during one of Japan's busiest, most expensive holiday weeks. The most notorious example is Golden Week, which is a string of national holidays at the end of April and early May. During this period, it can feel like the entire country is on the move. Trains sell out, hotels are booked solid months in advance, and popular spots are packed. The same goes for Open Week in mid-August and the New Year's holiday. Trying to travel during these times without serious advance planning can be a logistical nightmare. And even outside of major holidays, you have to think about the peak tourist seasons. Everyone wants to see the cherry blossoms in spring or the fiery leaves in autumn. These seasons are absolutely beautiful, but they also bring massive crowds and jacked up prices. You can definitely travel during these times, but you have to be ready for it. That means booking your flights and hotels months ahead, sometimes 6 months or more for popular spots. It also means you need to book reserved train seats as soon as they become available, which is usually 1 month before your travel date. And, of course, you have to be mentally prepared to share those perfect photo ops with thousands of your new best friends. The solution is to do your homework. Before you book a thing, just do a quick search for Japanese national holidays and peak travel seasons in Japan. This one simple step can save you so much money and stress. If you have a flexible schedule, think about traveling in the shoulder seasons, like late May after Golden Week or early December. You'll often get great weather, smaller crowds, and better prices. Planning around the local calendar is a strategic move that helps ensure the Japan you see is serene and welcoming, not sold out and stressful. This leads right into our third critical mistake: thinking you can just wing it and book things when you get there. That spontaneous approach might work in other places, but in Japan, it's a recipe for serious disappointment. The reality is, many of the most famous and unique Japanese experiences sell out, and they sell out fast. Imagine getting to Tokyo, so excited to visit the world-famous Ghibli Museum, only to find out tickets for your entire trip sold out 3 months ago. That Michelin-starred sushi spot you were dreaming of? Fully booked. That trendy themed cafe? There's a 2-hour wait just to get in, if you're lucky. This isn't an exaggeration, it's a tough lesson many travelers learn the hard way. The key is to figure out your absolute, must-do activities early and book them as soon as you possibly can. This doesn't mean you have to schedule every single minute of your trip, but you absolutely should lock in those key, high-demand experiences long before you pack your bags. So, what needs to be booked in advance? It's a pretty specific list. Tickets for places like the Ghibli Museum, certain character cafes, or popular digital art exhibits like Team Lab often sell out incredibly quickly, so you need to be ready right when sales open. Reservations for famous or highly rated restaurants are also essential. If you want to ride a specific scenic train or need reserved seats on a bullet train during a busy season, book those ahead of time. And unique accommodations, like a traditional ryokan with a private hot spring, can be booked up for months. Think of it this way: by booking your 2 or 3 most important experiences in advance, you're building the pillars of your trip. You're guaranteeing the highlights. The rest of your time can be flexible and open for spontaneity, but you'll be able to relax knowing your non-negotiable moments are locked in. Alright, we're halfway through, and hopefully, you're already feeling a lot more prepared. If you're finding this advice helpful and want to make sure your trip to Japan is as awesome as possible, take a second to hit that subscribe button. My whole goal here is to help you travel smarter, and when you subscribe, it lets me make more guides just like this one. Now, let's get back to the mistakes you're going to avoid. Mistake number 4 is a big one: underestimating just how complex Japan's transportation system can be. Everyone knows Japan's trains are incredible. They're clean, efficient, and always on time. But efficient doesn't mean simple, especially if it's your first time. A lot of travelers don't account for the massive scale of the major train stations and the logistics of getting around them. Here's a situation that happens all the time. Your itinerary gives you 15 minutes to transfer from the Narita Express to the Yamanote line at Tokyo Station. Sounds easy, right? Wrong. Tokyo Station is a sprawling, multi-level labyrinth with over 24 platforms. That 15-minute transfer can easily take 20 minutes of power walking through dense crowds and puzzling over signs, all while dragging your heavy suitcase. Underestimating these transfer times is a classic way to miss your train and throw your entire day off schedule. And speaking of luggage, let's talk about it. Hauling giant suitcases through crowded stations, up and down stairs, and onto packed commuter trains is more than just an inconvenience. It's a physically draining, frustrating experience that many travelers say they deeply regret. The solution is to plan your transport with a dose of reality. First, always add extra buffer time for your transfers. For any big station, just assume it's going to take you at least 20-30 minutes to get from one train to another. Second, before you even get to a massive station like Shinjuku or Umeda, pull up a station map on your phone. Get an idea of the layout, find your arrival and departure platforms, and look for the right exit number for your destination. It can save you from walking 15 minutes in the complete wrong direction. But here's the real pro tip, the one that will change your life. Use a luggage forwarding service, known as Takahiban. It is one of the best kept secrets of seamless Japan travel. For a really reasonable price, you can send your big suitcase from your hotel in one city to your hotel in the next, and it will just be there waiting for you when you check in. This lets you travel between cities with just a small day pack. It feels like absolute magic and single-handedly eliminates the biggest source of transit stress. The final mistake is treating the boring stuff as an afterthought. I'm talking about three things: cash, connectivity, and transit cards. It's easy to assume you can get by with just a credit card in your phone, but in Japan, that assumption can lead to a lot of small, frustrating problems that just pile up. Let's start with cash. Japan is super high-tech, but it's still very much a cash-friendly society in many of the places you'll want to go. Yes, credit and mobile payments are becoming much more common, especially in big cities and at major chains. But that tiny, family-run ramen shop with the best gyoza? That food stall at the temple market? The entrance fee for a beautiful garden? A lot of those are still cash only. If you show up without enough yen, you'll either miss out or have to go on a frustrating hunt for an ATM that takes foreign cards. Next is connectivity. Landing in a new country with no data is a recipe for stress. You can't look up train times, you can't use Google Maps when you get lost, and you can't use a translation app to ask for help. Don't wait until you're totally lost to figure this out. Finally, there's daily transit. Fumbling for coins to buy a paper ticket for every single subway ride is a slow, clunky way to get around. The solution is to handle these three things before your trip really gets going. First, get cash. Either order some yen from your bank before you leave or make withdrawing a decent amount of cash your top priority the second you land at the airport. Second, sort out your internet ahead of time. You can order a pocket Wi-Fi device to be delivered to your hotel or, even easier, buy an eSIM online and activate it the moment you touch down. Instant data, no hassle. And for transit, try setting up a digital transit card like Suica or Passmo on your phone before you leave home. For most people, you can load it with money via your credit card, and then just tap your phone to get on basically any train, subway, or bus in Japan. It makes getting around feel completely effortless. Just do a quick check on compatibility, as it can depend on your phone and region. If it doesn't work for your device, no problem. Just grab a physical card at any major station when you arrive. Taking care of cash, connectivity, and transit cards are small moves that prevent 1,000 tiny headaches, letting you focus on the joy of the trip. So there you have it, the 5 major strategic mistakes that can turn a dream trip into a mess. Don't overpack your itinerary, always check the calendar, book your must-dos early, plan for how big train stations are, and get your logistics sorted out from the start. See the pattern here? All of these are planning mistakes, not sightseeing mistakes. The errors that have the biggest impact are the ones you make before you even leave the house. But now you know how to avoid them. By thinking strategically about your timing, your pacing, and your logistics, you're setting yourself up for success. You're making sure that your adventure in Japan will be defined by wonder and discovery, not by stress and exhaustion. You're ready to have a truly incredible, seamless trip. What other planning mistakes have you seen or made while traveling in Japan? Share your knowledge in the comments below. Let's help each other travel smarter. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.